Asking questions to your prospects is crucial when it comes to sales. And if you struggle to ask the right questions, determine what you should ask and where, or find it hard to turn the conversation around when the customer asks you about price, stick around today as I'm going to discuss how to tailor your product or service to your customers' wants and needs. Hey everyone, it's Oliver from Cattalyst.com and welcome back to the fourth video in my sales training series. Today's focus, questioning. When I started out in sales, I found it difficult to establish exactly what it is my customers truly wanted, and I often made assumptions because I wasn't listening. Customers would put the phone down, they would just walk out, so I needed to figure out exactly what I was doing wrong. So here is what I learned. The first thing you need to remember, don't be afraid to ask questions. If you saw my post on Wednesday, I spoke about the saying, there is no such thing as a stupid question. And if truth be told, it's an honest statement. But what I alluded to the other day is that there is a point in our lives where we are made to look stupid because we've asked a question that everybody else in the room assumes you should already know the answer to. The bottom line here is, you don't know what you don't know. And this is why it is imperative that you ask as many questions as you can without it sounding like an interrogation. Ultimately, you need to do this so you can improve your knowledge of your customer. This is essential, especially in sales. How can you sell your product and meet a customer's needs if you do not know their expectations? So when you start, ensure that you are asking questions that allow your customer to speak more than you do. And the only way we can achieve this is with tip number 2. Before you can start effectively asking open-ended questions, you need to know what they are. An open-ended question is a question that requires a full answer, using the prospect's knowledge or their feelings. These questions are not objective, they're not leading, and the result is an answer that requires an explanation. These types of questions all start with who, what, when, where, why, and how. And some examples of this would be, what do you need this product to be able to do for you? Or why were you drawn to this product in the first place? This question will give you more information that you need to help you close that sale. And what's great about these types of questions is that it allows your prospect to paint a picture of this product working for them in their own head. And they will tell you the reason for coming to you in the first place. The more you get from them, the more you get them to open up, the more they see themselves using this product, and it then becomes your job to advise your customer why they should buy from you and not one of your competitors. Another great open-ended question is, how did you hear about our offering? Or how did you hear what we offer? If you are able to determine the source of the sales call, this nugget of information can help you tremendously, as it will help you build rapport with your prospect, and you can also find some common ground, which is what I spoke about in last week's video. Once you start to gain traction with your customer, we need to adapt our questioning to something that we call trial closing. I'm going to be talking more about that and closing techniques in one of my upcoming videos. But here we go with tip number 3. For those old school salespeople out there, you will know this as the ABC of sales, and that is always be closing. It's a technique that we salespeople like to use to keep the customer interested, either at the beginning of the sales call or at the end. Me personally, I like to use it throughout. Think of the trial close like a test to see if your customer is interested. This gives you an idea of what they're thinking about, and ultimately, you can then adjust your pitch to actually make the sale. A trial close is an attempt to close that sale before you enter that physical step. It's like testing the water to see just how ready they are to buy, or even draw out possible objections so that you can be ahead of the curveball that they could throw you a little bit later on. Here are some trial closes that you can use. How do you feel about what we've discussed so far? How does what we've talked about sound to you? Based on what you've heard so far, what are your questions? What do you think about the solution that I've shared with you? You will notice that all of these questions that I've just mentioned are open. And this is to ensure that you get the prospect talking so you can not only learn about where you are in the sales process, but also find out about when is the right time for you to ask for that sale. I like to ask these questions after I've done a strong pitch, including features, advantages, and benefits, which is what I'm going to be talking about in next week's video. When you ask a trial close, you will likely get one of three types of responses. A customer that's not interested, somebody who's on the right wavelength, or somebody who's ready to rumble. And it is your job to adjust your pitch accordingly. If your prospect is cold and not interested, you need to pick up on this. You need to deliver some immediate follow-up questions and grab their attention, as it's clear that they could walk out at any single point. If your customer is feeling it and you know you're on the right track, but you need to up your game, you need to ensure that you seal the deal, and again, you need to jump on more questions to extract more information. And then finally, the best place to be in is if your customer is ready to roll. If you get the right response, then you can jump on this straight away with a closing technique, which is great for you. However, no matter what happens, what questions you ask, you always need to remember one golden rule. You need to be in the driver's seat throughout your sales process, as it is far too easy to give your prospect the power if you're not paying attention. This happens when they start to ask questions about your product and you haven't yet had the chance to get them excited about it. If this happens, you become an answering service and your chance of painting the picture disappears very, very quickly. Let me give you an example. Let's say I'm selling a phone. I'm in the early stages of the sales process and the customer randomly blurts out, "How much is it?" If I just drop the price of $1,500, it's more than likely the customer's just going to switch off and walk out the door because I've not been able to explain the features, advantages, and benefits. And I've not even been able to establish what's drawn them to this phone in the first place. A lot of salespeople can fall into this trap really easy because price is always a big factor. So how do we sidestep this question to ensure our customer doesn't switch off or walk away? For me, I would say something along the lines of, "I'll be more than happy to help with that. Can I ask which version of the phone you're after?" Or, "How much memory do you need in the phone?" At this point, it's clear you have not ignored their question, and you've also said you'd be more than happy to help. But now you have an opportunity to address those customers' needs, dig a little deeper, especially before dropping the price on them. They may ask you why you're asking so many questions, when all they want to know is the price. But the great thing about this question is that it's your job to educate them as to why you're asking these questions and show them subconsciously that you're in control of this conversation. Now, I want to be clear. The customer asking questions is not to be confused with buying signals. Buying signals are a great thing, and they're when customers start to ask questions in real time towards a topic that you're already discussing. And this we'll discuss in a future video. There you have it. 4 quick top tips to help you question your customers and understand their answers. Now, if you want to learn other tips and techniques on how to ask questions and when to ask them, please do not hesitate to get in touch using my contact details below or any of my social media platforms. Join me next week as we discuss features, advantages, and benefits and how all of that links into trial closing. If you've got any specific questions you want answered, please let me know in the comments below and I'll do my best to fit them into next week's video. If you haven't done so already, please drop a like and leave a comment, and also don't forget to share. The more people that see this video, the better it helps. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and the notification to be told when our next video is being released. Thanks for watching and have a great week.